Section 3.4, more linear equations. So in this section, compared to 3.2, we have a variable on each side of the equation. And we already looked at how to solve equations with fractions and decimals. So the same rules will apply in this section. It's just that now we have a variable on both sides. So let's get started. The first example is 2y plus 5 equals 8y plus 10. And you see that we have a variable on both sides of the equation. And so basically what we want to do is we want to put our variables on one side and the two numbers should be on the other side. It doesn't matter which side we put the variables on. We could have the variables on the right side or the left side. It doesn't matter. So when you look at this equation, there are technically 4 ways to start. We could subtract 2y from both sides. We could subtract 8y from both sides. We could subtract 5, or you could subtract 10. It doesn't matter, you will get the same answer. In this case, let's subtract 2y from both sides. Okay, so when we do that, we are left with 5 equal to, we subtract here, that gives me 6y plus 10. Next, we subtract 10. So from this point, it's the same type of problem or equation that we have solved before. Subtract 10 from both sides. Let's use minus 10. And that's going to give us a negative 5 equal to 6y. And of course, from here, we divide both sides by 6. And we isolate our variable. We have y equal to negative 5 over 6. And that's our final solution. Okay, next, example 2. This is an example where, again, you have the variable on both sides of the equation. We also have parentheses, which in this case implies that we need to use the distributive property. First step is use the distributive property. And so when we do that, it's 7 times 2x and 7 times negative 1. And then we use the distributive property on the right side, 5 times x, 5 times 6. So let's begin. We have 14x minus 7 equal to 5x plus 30 minus 13. Next, when we're solving equations, if you notice like terms on either side of your equation, you want to combine your like terms first before you do anything else. Over here, I noticed that we have 30 minus 13. Those are like terms. So what we want to do is combine those first. And then once those are combined, then we'll be able to continue. So let's go ahead and do the subtraction here. And so when we subtract, that's going to give us, let's write this out. We have 14x minus 7 equal to 5x plus, and this gives us 17. Next, looking at the equation that we have, it's very similar to the first example. From here, we have 4 ways to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 7 to both sides of the equation. Plus 7 plus 7. 14x equal to 5x plus 24. Next, we need to put you need these two x terms to be on the same side, and so we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. so when we subtract, we are left with 9x equal to 24. We divide by 9 to isolate the variable, and we get x equals 24 over 9. And notice that we can reduce this fraction. You can reduce the numerator and denominator by 3. And so if we do that, we get 8 over 3. And then we're done. So it is okay, by the way, that when you solve, your answer comes out to be a fraction. So you can have a fraction, you could have a decimal, and those are all solutions that are possible for these problems. And make sure that you know that you can take your answer and substitute it back into the original problem, and you can check your work. It might be a little bit more steps for these two examples, but you can still check your work.